Welcome. This is Barry Jones from Angelic Wisdom, and we're here for our monthly Ascension Angel Messages for April 2025. So, as we open this angel reading, I'd like to first of all thank everyone who is following this monthly series, and also to anyone who might have just happened to stop in for the very first time. Welcome to you as well. If you haven't done so already, make sure that you're subscribed. Select the all notification bell, like, and of course, leave your comments. If you would like to get an angel reading with me, you can go to my current website, theangelschool.com/services. You'll find that link in the description area beneath this video. Currently, I'm just doing readings on Saturdays, starting around 2 o'clock. I may have some availability in the week now that we're getting a little bit more daylight, but that will be on a um, sort of individual basis. If you would like to support my channel with a donation, you can go to my PayPal me link for Angelic Wisdom LLC, and you'll find that in the description area beneath this video as well. Let's see. So the format of cards. The card in the center represents the Archangel that we'll be working with in this month. And also the cards on either side will represent a message from your guardian angel. However, the one on the left is from the Major Arcana. So that's going to give us a message about what is the overall influence or theme or message or energy that's sort of really working behind the scenes and shaping your experiences in this month. And then, of course, the card on the right is from the Minor Arcana, and that's going to tell us how it shows up in a way that we can understand it, how we are absorbing this in our day-to-day awareness, and give us advice about how we can work with that energy as well. I feel like there's something else I should be telling you, but I guess it'll pop up in my mind if you need it. So, oh, I know. So I'm trying not to forget this, but if I do, I'm very sorry. But I wanted to say happy birthday to all of the Aries in the month of April, or whose birthday month might be in the month of April. Just a happy birthday to you. So let's take a deep breath. And just breathe and relax, center yourself. And really also ground your energy deep into the heart of Mother Earth. And they want you to really pay attention to the frequency. And each week, especially going through everything that's happening in the world and the chaos, keep tuning in and notice how much higher the frequency is than it's ever been before. And this feels like we're in the dawning of a new cycle. And I know it's spring, but on an energetic level, we're in a new cycle. And it's a cycle that we've never really experienced in our lifetimes and for eons of time. And you might really start to notice your intuition just sort of popping out. And I hate to say this, but it's almost like, it, it's like having, well, no, I won't say it. It's just like this sense of popping out, right? Like a jack in the box. when you least expect it, and in ways that you don't normally have experiences. And that could be your clairvoyance, your clairaudience, claircognizance, or clairsentience. You might really, and the energy of your grounding, you will notice that there's just more vibration, or as the old song used to say, there's that fire shut up in the bones. You feel it more now, that fire of spirit. So just be really aware of this new cycle of energy and all the new things, but subtle things that are occurring through you. And it has a feeling of like we're waking up, and our soul, our missions, they're waking up within us. And so there's a lot to be open to. And some of it can sometimes catch you really off guard, that you might react in the old way. Don't worry, take a breath, and, you know, make the connection, reconnect. It might even be an opportunity that comes to you, and then you just went like, blew it off and thought, no, not. But go back. Don't be afraid to go back towards somebody and say, you know, that opportunity you sort of offered, I'd like to reconsider. I'd like to um, try this out. Okay. People are doing things more intuitively. So if they're offering you something, don't be afraid to circle back, because the heart's invested, not the mind this time, in those types of interactions. Let's see if there's anything else that's just coming up before we get into the reading. You know, when they see the naked behind, that's my symbol for emotional vulnerability. But I saw it, and then I saw sort of like this skirt of, like, you know, of flowers. It's like a nature skirt, and that came down over it, like a mini skirt actually, and it just blossomed. So there's a sense that of an emotional transition, and they wrote the word tranquility in front of me. So, you know, some kind of emotional tranquility might be an experience that you start to have. What I feel like is being said through my mouth right now is that it sort of lessens. There's going to be sort of a lessening of, you know, these really intensified experiences that just sort of, you know, it's like somebody yanked your tail when you were running at full speed. And that can be very painful, and disarming, right? Because you just get jerked back, and it makes you want to just give up and stay where you are. But that kind of intensity is going to happen less for you. And it's almost of a sense, when I said emotional transformation, is that when I saw the flowers and I'm just seeing the word orgasm, it's also sort of like you're more in touch, in tune with your emotions, in terms of guidance, in terms of messages, because all that emotional intensity from the past was really just your ego blocking out the purpose, the guidance within it, those intensities, you know. So you won't possibly interpret things as anxiety or something to be afraid of or something to be worried about. And instead, you'll be more sensitive to hope, to faith, even in each other. They wrote humanity. You will find more security or feel more at home within your guidance system. It's like you're within your guidance system, and your ego has just been reinterpreting everything in a very critical and personal way, and feeling more at home in your emotional guidance system and your all of your um, mental, emotional, spiritual bodies, physical body, will allow you to start blossoming. That those cords of fear will seem like they're just going to turn into blooms, right? To all these different blooms. It gave me the sense the skirt was just like made out of you know tulips and purple types of wildflowers. It just all kinds of beautiful things. All right, so let's take a look at the Archangel message. And I just saw a book kind of open in front of the legs. And a sense of nudity. So I think you're going to discover more about your authentic self. You know, many of us are trying to, we're all striving to be who we are, right? To try to honor our truth. And that hasn't always been easy to do, but now it is seen that you'll have more knowledge about your true self, about what your truth is. It's almost like a wisdom that comes, a knowing or a wisdom that allows you to understand who you truly are. Like, I don't know if there's a difference between the knowing and the understanding, but maybe there is. And it's sort of a difference of like knowing who you are, but also understanding who you are and having understanding for who you are. They're writing the word playfulness. So there's this gives you, it sort of frees you up, this understanding, and it allows you to start playing instead of suppressing the writing. Be aware of the earth wisdom that's coming up through you right now. And that earth wisdom is allowing you to feel more at home on the planet. We've all felt very persecuted in this planetary experience, even in our past lives. And that is going away. And a sense of feeling at home. Like, for the first time, you might feel like you're just really embracing being here, being in your purpose, being in the mission that you were called to fulfill, and in your own personal soul missions as well. They're writing the word flexibility. Um, with this energy that we've been talking about comes more flexibility in your purpose, more flexibility in who you think you are and who you come to understand and know that you are. Remember, the mind before has really been sort of narrowing our vision. And what would it be like as this now is starting to open and you see more of you? You see more of you. You see more opportunities. You feel less stuck, right? So that's where that flexibility, sort of sense of flexibility or awareness, comes from, or will come from, or is coming from. And that brings that sense of that new sense of tranquility into your life. And they write it could be terrifying for some, but overall, we'll get used to it politely. I don't know why they wrote that, but that's what they wrote. We'll get used to it politely, meaning because we're usually not polite with ourselves, right? And they write the word piety. And I don't think it's the kind of piety that we understand, but I think we will see it as, come to see it as when we stand in our truth. And when we have um, a greater awareness of our personal integrity and knowing and understanding, knowing when we're acting with integrity and understanding um, what we need to do to improve or cultivate more integrity. That allows for even more flexibility and being true to yourself. And that comes where the tranquility comes in, because there's less division within the self. There's less warring, internal warring. So we have the Archangel Samuel. And this is what I feel like since I turned the card, the conversation has been coming um, from Archangel Samuel. And Samael, rather, it says, choose harmonious responses, act with wisdom and grace. So, and a time where we'll choose harmonious experiences for ourselves by responding in a way that's in harmony with what's going on in ourselves and within our interactions. We'll find some kind of balance. And I'm just drawn again to that. I love this cup or bowl he's holding, and it's got these cracks in it, but they've been inlaid with gold, and so it's turned it into something beautiful and artistic. And I think that when we learn that the old ego, our ego looks at everybody as like broken and sees us as broken, and sort of doesn't respect that brokenness. And I think when we come to accept ourself and being and being aware of our integrity, right? And the integrity of the self, that the integrity of the self is not necessarily perfect. It isn't perfect. And it's only imperfect because it seems different from everything else around us. But then that becomes the perfection of imperfection. And then sort of morphs in our understanding into harmony. And once we see that all of that diversity is harmony, then we can respond to each note with respect and grace and wisdom. All right, so let's take a look at the theme for the month, or the overarching energies that we're working with. And look at that, wouldn't you? The Justice card. And we've been talking so much about, integrity. The cards here hits the words fairness, the law of karma. So as we start to develop this, so this is going to be what's really holding us account. I feel like we're being held accountable, but with this golden energy radiating in the background, we're being held accountable, or holding ourselves accountable to a higher standard. And that higher standard is love. No longer a shakiness about what love is and how to act out of love. And also not to see love as this perfect ideal. Love is imperfect, perfectly imperfect. There are many facets of love and I believe that love is a place that we come from in our hearts, but that does not preclude it from being able to sort of go through the spectrum of emotions. The thing is that although we may not be perfect in the way that we express our love, and that goes to then contradict it to say that the seeing it imperfectly, right, is also something that we have to heal. That everything is being what it needs to be, but when we're acting out of love, we are we're being who we need to be in that moment so that everybody else can be who they needed to be in that moment and be true and with themselves in the best possible way that they can. Each and every one of us is responsible for how we are accountable to love. We don't have to do that for others. We only have to do it for ourselves. And when we learn that we only have to do that for ourselves, we don't have to do it for others, then we'll have less we'll come to really understand how powerful love is. You know, sometimes I think we think love is like sort of, I don't know, Pollyanna, you know. It's always sweet, it's always gentle, it's always this and that and this and that. And it's just not. If you're always coming from love, people, no matter how it needs to be said as love, or expressed as love, or felt as love, people who are taking accountability for themselves will eventually get it. And it doesn't mean that love ever is intentionally doing harm, or that it's okay to get away with doing harm and calling it love. Well, it just isn't. You cannot manipulate love. If you've truly done it, then the understanding will come with it. It's like the grace of God will give that understanding with your love, but you've only got to be accountable to love for yourself. You cannot be accountable to love for others. So when love guides you to say something a certain way, and it may not be your way, you can't try to go fix it, is what I'm getting at. Be accountable to love for yourself, meaning if you're having a problem with receiving that love and sharing that message of love, that's on you. But don't project it onto the other. Don't project what you might be perceiving as a misunderstanding in the way you said something, and project that onto the other person as though they're having that misunderstanding. And if you felt it in your heart truly, then you'll know that you did the right thing for that moment, for that soul, and for yourself. And in that moment, both of you were being made whole. You're not just the one doing, you're doing and you're receiving. And both are, in fact. When you allow love to be what it needs to be, then everything will balance itself out in its due course as it was meant to be. Notice all this golden energy that we're experiencing in these two cards. And it's the Ace of Earth. And this came up in the first reading of the year, end of the last day of the month, March 31st to April 6th. And here we see this, it doesn't even remind you of that kid from Home Alone or something, one of those cute, no, it's another kid that was really cute a long time ago. And just saw him recently grown up on one of Teresa Caputo's shows on YouTube. But, and it's so interesting because I think, if I remember, he had a connection with his grandmother too. And the other card in the April 6th one had a connection with the grandmother. And I was talking about that and my connection with my grandmother. And how, she taught me or showed me this path of singing, right? But also the path of wisdom. And, sometimes, people come into our lives and inspire us. Now, is it perfect? No, but it's perfect the way it needed to be. And what I mean by this, because in some ways my relationship with my grandmother was very ideal, extremely ideal, actually. And yet I was afraid as a toddler, when she asked me to perform. I didn't know what we were doing that practice for. And, I kind of shut down. And I spent a lot of my life not focused on the love of performing that she tried to impart to me. I focused on my side of it, which was I was shocked and afraid. And then it kind of stayed with me. And it's almost this feeling of new opportunities growing, this flexibility we were talking about, and maybe things that might have been instilled in us or shared with us out of love and sort of developed who we were, and they felt safe, but yet somehow we internalized them differently. And it may be that, as we are growing and our spirit is opening up from that limited space and scope that it had before, that we see these paths transforming and opening up to us in new ways, maybe even unfamiliar ways, but still related in somehow, possibly. So the idea here is, in this month, be open to how you see the world. Be open to what you're passionate about. Be open to it in new ways. Be open to being more of who you truly are. And be open to respecting that. Hate to tell the story again, but I guess it's important, right? In the sense that I had said that someone was, for the first time professionally looking at me and saying, you would be a wonderful countertenor, and I like, if I could hire you for that. And I was kind of like, because in my life, God, it's still hard to say it again. But the countertenor thing, I mean, there are many men doing it now, but it's just, in my time, it was always met with a lot of, ugh, right? Like, what is that? And, people were worried about you being something different. And I think that when I thought about it, and I did reach out to the person again and say, okay, let's try it and see what it's like. Um, and, you know, I reached back out because I realized, okay, I remember this thought before around this topic, and that I was allowing myself to be limited because I felt like I was betraying the other voice, and or that I would deal with this being uncomfortable by what maybe my family thinks or what anybody else thinks, right? And so that we learn that, first of all, if we're ever going to be true to ourselves, that we've got to be the first ones to respect the energy of who we are. We've got to be the ones who's got to be accountable to the love that it's coming from ourselves and that is inspired by God, right? So we have to be open to that. And then that's when they write all the possibilities that you could have ever hoped for to connect you to this and that or whatever, it will all come. So heart says abundance, opportunity, resources. You have it within you. This is something that whatever has been revealed to you, you can learn it, you can study it, you can train with somebody professionally. It doesn't matter. It's there within you, and it will cultivate within you to be a golden opportunity for you. This beautiful gold energy. And I really feel like it's about this ascension path and coming into this golden age, this new golden age that is transforming us. And that is what we've been talking about. And it's just really beautiful. And it seems to align with, honoring who you are and your gifts become incredibly powerful and magnetic for you. So I send you lots of love and angel blessings, and I wish you an incredible season of spring and this time of Aries and new energy and moving forward and just being fearless in who you are. God bless you.